but I've seen a correlation between heavily tattooed women and daddy issues. What's up, my brothers? Let's get into installment number 3 on red flags. I'm going to cover 3 more red flags in this video. Last one we covered in this list was violent women. I want to get into red flag number 8, extreme jealousy. Anyway, extreme jealousy. Women want a man that other women want to bang, but they generally don't want a man banging other women. This dichotomy of female nature is something men will always struggle with because a degree of jealousy, also known as competition anxiety, is desirable. You want her to have strong, genuine interest and desire for you, and the only way she's going to have that is if she feels a degree of competition anxiety from other women, meaning other women look at you, other women check you out, maybe other women on social media are liking or commenting on your stuff, making favorable statements that she can see. That's a healthy amount of competition anxiety. Now, extreme jealousy is problematic for men, and it's a red flag because it can be super undesirable, and it makes them they make themselves really insecure, and they really distract you from your purpose. They're going to be like a predator drone, constantly circling above you, watching exactly what you're doing. She's going to over-monitor everything that you do. She's going to look for hairs in your car. She's going to grab a piece of paper. She finds a receipt, and it looks like, oh, you went to a certain restaurant. She'll look at the receipt to see what was ordered and on what date, and if she was with you. And she'll look through your social media posts, and she'll click on the profiles. I've seen women do batshit crazy stuff. I've seen women do stuff like DM random women that they think that you're banging and say something like, I live in Toronto, for example, and say something like, oh, hey, you look familiar. Did you go to University of Toronto? And she'll just respond with, no, I live in Philly or Pennsylvania or something like that. And then they disqualify them. But if they lived in Toronto and they saw a pattern of them liking, commenting on your social posts, the extreme jealousy can come out. They can be all over you guys. They can be all over you and distracting you from what you're doing. You do not need this. She will drain you of your sanity, joy, and dignity. Jealous women have work to do on themselves. It's not your job to be their therapist. Again, you want a healthy amount of competition anxiety, but not to the point where it leans into extreme jealousy. You've got women that don't care, like they just don't give a damn. Then you have kind of like the middle area, which leans into competition anxiety, meaning they wonder or worry where you're at and what you could potentially be up to. Extreme jealous women will be all over you like a fat kid on cake. Dudes, they'll count your condoms in your drawer. They're going to go through your garbage bin. They're going to do some of the weirdest things, and it is exhausting. Do not get involved with extreme jealous women. But I want to move on to the next red flag. Number 9, party girls. Most women under the age of 27, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, it just really depends on what your strategy is. But if you have a woman in her party years, it's usually between the age of 20, 27. Those are her party years. She's out doing Cancun, Ibiza, Vegas. She's, having one-night stands. The cute guy at the foam cannon party, she'll hop into bed within 20 minutes of meeting the guy. This is not particularly uncommon, but the thing being is, if you're just dating or you're spinning it as a plate, that's fine, but just understand what you're getting into. But if you're vetting her for a long-term relationship or a marriage, or you think she's wife stock or wife material, some guys are, chasing, which I don't recommend. I'm vehemently opposed to that. I've talked about that before in other videos. You can search my channel. But party girls are a problem for men. More specifically because if you're with her with the expectation that she's going to mother your children, but she's going out every single weekend, spending 2, maybe 3 hours getting dressed up, putting on makeup, hair, nails, heels, going out with her girlfriends, pre-drinks, after drinks, whatever, all that sort of stuff. She's basically marketing herself to the world. She's saying, hey guys, I'm over here, I'm available, check me out, look at me. So you can't be in an exclusive relationship with a woman that's in her party years. Not to say that it's bad that you date a woman in her party years, but there are guys that I've seen that have dated, a 24, 25-year-old woman, and she's abandoned her sexual strategy of open hypergamy and the party and all that sort of stuff to enter his frame because he's such a high-value guy and she digs his vibe that much. So it's not, all of these red flags are not hard and fast rules. You've got to understand that they're pliable, okay? There's some flexibility on it depending on what you're doing. Ones like violent women are certainly hard and fast rules. You do not get involved with them, but just understand the party years are there. They're not always there in, the early 20s. Sometimes I've seen women that have gotten married at 21. They get divorced at 35. They completely skip their party years, and they're going out with their girlfriends in their late 30s, partying, but they're also holding out to you as a guy that they're a high value, virtuous woman that, you know, is exclusive or monogamous. I've seen chicks in their late 30s with two different kids from two different fathers leave both kids with the guy that she had the child with, or the toddler, you know, so to speak, and go out spending nights salsa dancing with random strange dudes. You know, you don't know what's going on. She could be porking him in the bathroom. She could be taking him home, going to their place. But it's just a bad dynamic, especially in, you know, scenarios like that where you end up getting cucked and you're watching some other guy's kid plush your kid while she's going out partying. It's just like, dudes, it's never a good scene. Those scenarios never end well. I get a lot of coaching calls, a lot of booked calls from guys that are trying to get their head around why they can't get their woman to stop partying and going out and, you know, meeting and interacting and marketing themselves to other guys. It's always bad news. All right, let's finish up on one last one in this batch. I'm going to go with heavily tattooed and pierced woman. Now, I realize that some guys have a preference for ink and piercings, and that's fine. I've done it before the train wreck with my friend Dr. Sean T. Smith, and we talked about tattoos. I'll put the card up for that so it's on the top right. Thank you, Car. And you should probably watch that full episode because there's some call-ins and some interesting comments. But to me, a heavily tattooed woman is like putting bumper stickers all over a Lamborghini. You just don't do it. I see, like, women, generally speaking, to men are beauty objects. Men to women are success objects. So when we look at something like a Lamborghini, it's a thing of beauty. When we look at a beautiful woman, we see it as a thing of beauty. My take on it is, and again, not everybody's going to agree, but my take on it is heavily tattooed women, they're saying something. You know, they're signaling to the world that they've basically mutilated their body. But I've seen a correlation between heavily tattooed women and daddy issues. I've seen a correlation between, you know, women that hate men or are toxic feminists, and they have like rows of, like, you know, earrings all the way up the ear sort of thing, or they've got pierced nipples or other body parts. Septums over here especially. So, you know, like I've seen this over here, like this was really cute when I lived in England in my early 20s. A lot of women had like a nose ring sort of thing, a little diamond or something small, and that turned into a hoop. And then the hoop moved from the side over to the middle to the septum, you know, like they're, you know, eyebrows, tats, you know, tats, like sleeve tats, visible tats on their body, tramp stamps on the lower back. You guys can choose to get involved, you know, with women that are mutilating their body. But my advice to you is, why would you want to when there's women out there that don't, you know, that will preserve their beauty and just signal out that femininity. Tattoos to me are more of a masculine sort of, you know, behavior. Tatting up your body is more of a masculine behavior. You know, it's more tribal. I think a lot of guys, you know, from back in the days, you know, when they did it in the old school sort of way, you know, not in like tattooed parlors, you know, it's like a rite of passage sort of thing. I mean, you see certain guys, you know, depending on what they were doing at different stages of life, you know, sailors, for example, they'd go and get like the sailor tattoos. So I don't think it, and, you know, some people will scream and get mad and be like, well, if men can do it, why can't women? You can. Go tat up your bodies, you know, if you want to. But my recommendation to men is avoid it. To me, it's a red flag. You know, you're telling people that you like to mutilate your body. It doesn't look like art to me. It looks, you know, distasteful, just like somebody throwing bumper stickers all over a Lambo. So my recommendation is avoid it. Don't like it. It's a big red flag in my estimation when it goes overboard.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.